All right, welcome back to the second episode of our Fake Nerd book club, the spinoff of the Fake Nerd podcast series. This is the Hurdle, guys. We jumped over the first episode Hurdle. We're now into the second episode. We're gearing to go.
I love hurdles.
We can keep going.
As the saying goes, the hardest part of any journey is taking the first step.
In this case, it's the second step. But yes.
Yeah. But we got the first step, so we're good. We're good.
Yeah, so as we talked about last time, 2 weeks ago, we are talking about Wasted Space. Last time we did the first volume of Wasted Space, and this time we are doing the second volume of Wasted Space, which is written by Michael Moreci, with art by, I just lost the page. There it is, Hayden Sherman, with colors by Jason Wardy, lettered by Jim Campbell, by Vault Comics.
Woo! I have a quick question. Who are you?
I'm Brandon T. McClure.
And who is he? And who am I?
Who am I?
I was getting there.
Who am I?
That is the question. That is the question.
Who am I? What have I done?
As always.
That scene was rough.
As always, I'm Brandon T. McClure. With me is Ben Magnet, Sparks Whitty.
Hey.
And Ryan Eliopoulos.
That's me. I'm the guy.
All right, guys. So what do we think about the second volume of Wasted Space?
Rough with a capital R.
Rough but good.
In a good way. I mean, holy shit! Did I get some Rick Remender vibes off of this one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I thought this was better than the first volume, actually.
I do too. It furthers along the story, but also it goes deeper into the characters in ways that are really, really tragic. But again, when you have a story like this that is part comedy but also part really tragic, like it takes a really good creative team to balance it out. And this volume did what that first volume did, but even better, I think. It explores more of the creator and what he's all about. When we all had questions, and I think we were kind of all wrong, which I love. I love it. Yeah, this book it continues to impress me every issue.
Yeah. Sparks?
I feel much the same way. I'd be echoing a lot of what Ryan just said. I think if I had a qualm at all with these 5 issues in comparison to the first, is that I feel like Molly took a bit too much of a backseat. But I'm not against it as long as, like, in the back 5 that we're coming up to, she comes back more to the forefront.
I think she will too.
I imagine she will. Like, I know that we were sacrificing that to get more development of Dust, more development of Billy
and Rex,
and that relationship, and Rex. And I'm like, and that kind of tied into Molly, but she was still kind of like, she became secondary to the journey of those other characters in these 5 issues. And I'm not against it. I definitely want to see more of her in the next 5.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I get that. This volume starts, and Billy is very eager to go kill the creator. He is very happy.
Oh, he is. I mean, if the last page or the second to last page of the first volume, with Legion telling him that he has to go kill God, essentially, and him like raising his arms and saying "F yeah," didn't tell you a whole lot about him. It's like, yeah, of course he's ready to go. And I mean, if I was a Billy,
he has a purpose now.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. He's ready to go and murk the creator.
And we find out a little bit about what Legion and the creator, I'm using air quotes this time, are.
Okay, yeah, that opening when the sword comes through one of the lower beings or whatever they are, and it's the creator saying, "Legion, we gotta talk." And I'm like, this happened much faster than I thought it would.
And you've realized they can't kill each other, which is why Legion asked Billy to go kill him.
And it turns out that the creator isn't actually the god. He is a god, much like, Thor or Loki are gods. But he is kind of Loki. He's the god of mischief. He is the one who's supposed to keep humans.
So what's interesting is that he says, Legion says, we're not gods.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, we are.
Well, again, like Thor, like all powerful.
No, but what I think is interesting is this kind of guy who serves a similar role as a deity has now taken the role of a god in these people's place for these people, and Legion is like,
They're more like Marvel's cosmic entities, like the Living Tribunal and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
But instead of being cosmic entities, they decide to be actual like gods, capital G.
Yeah.
I feel that because like both Legion and the creator, they have like this cosmic balance essentially. Like Legion straight up lays the fact is like, we're here so we can instill morality into these beings, and Creator's like, screw that. Let's just wreck stuff.
Make it about me, baby. Make it about me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that sequence specifically kind of sets the tone for like, oh boy, I don't know where this is going.
Yeah, I mean, just reading this book, I'm like, I thought I had a handle on this. Apparently, I don't, because there were a lot of passages in this book that dealt with like existential crises in a way. Like, why do we believe in gods? Why do we feel the way we do? What is morality? What is what is a being? What are we doing here? Are we just here? Should we give into our base carnal instincts, or should we try to rise above that? Just all this hardcore philosophy stuff that I feel that if you chucked these books into a philosophy class, that would take up at least half a semester stuff of talk, or at least.
Well, it's what Billy is. It's what Billy and Dust keep arguing. Billy is like, this universe is complete chaos and there's no planet at all. Whereas Dust is saying like, no, that's so bleak. Like there is something more, and there is something to be said about like destiny and things like that. And so Billy is constantly trying to find proof that the world is just chaos, or sorry, the galaxy is just chaos.
It's a bunch of people trying to find validations in their beliefs, whether they're good or bad.
Yeah,
like that's what the whole thing with Rex and Molly. It's like Rex thinks he's doing this thing because it's the good thing. It's the thing to do. But Molly keeps challenging him, like, yeah, you want to kill all these bad people. Does that make you a good person? Just killing all these people? You're no better than them. Like, who do you really think you are? And again, Ben, the thing you're talking about, like, that's really powerful stuff. Like, it's just 6 panels of a guy going, who the fuck am I? Who am I? That's something that, like, again, something like comics do really, really well.
One of the best parts about this book is when Rex and Molly are talking. Like, Rex gives this whole explanation about how Molly came into his family fold. And then after he was done, Molly said, you want to know something funny? I never asked that question. Like, he straight out starts mansplaining about Molly because he assumes that it's all about Molly, when really she's asking about him. Like, how did he, is like, why did you do it? Why are you doing this? And then he starts the trailing off like, who am I? Who am I? And then the realization hits, it's like, what have I done?
I'm a bad boy.
It just hits him so hard, and they hug and they start crying together. Or I think they're crying. It's just a pan out shot of them hugging each other. But still, because, and the first volume, you look at Rex and you're like, screw this guy. Just F him. He's a total dick. I don't like him. And the second volume, it's like, whoa, there's some real shit in there. There's some.
Again, like, a lot of these characters are like that. Like there's the one I forget what they're called, but like the guys who have the keys, right? Like the main guy we learned.
Yeah, the rich guys.
The rich guys, right? And there is that one rich guy who was not born rich. He was beaten every single day of his life until he earned it, right? And that's the thing. Like if we never saw that perspective, he would just be another one of the rich guys. He is a bad guy. He is a rich bad guy, right? But having the perspective of he actually did earn this, and he will fight for the thing that he fought for, and like that is such a good villain. Then opposed to just Chang, who is like just like half naked dude who's like, I didn't earn this. I don't give a shit if you have it. Like I love that. Like Cutter is like the one who is like, no, I did earn this, and you will not take this from me. Like that's a villain. That's a really good villain.
Can we talk about? I really like. I heard him as a Russian when he's just like, we have baboon. You like baboon?
Yeah, the eye patch guy. Yeah.
What are
you into?
Going on here?
Rich people get bored. What do you expect?
God. Yeah, I thought that guy was. I think the comedy. Mr. Bananas.
Mr. Bananas.
Mr. Bananas.
Oh, Mr.
Yeah, I thought the comedy in this was so funny. I thought this book was a laugh a minute sometimes.
The stuff,
really was.
The stuff with Dust and Fury, where you see the prophecy that she's going to try to kill them. And then, of course, Dust tries to stop it, and just it creates itself like that Ouroboros loop,
but like in a different way.
In a different way, yeah. Again, the stuff from the first volume with the gunman or whatever, like I love that stuff so much, and it's so sad because like he punches her jaw off, and she's like, "Oh, I love you," I'm like, "I love you too." Die. I'm like, man.
Yeah, and then it's nice because it's all about perspective, and it's not. Dust didn't do like mislead or do something like even if you analyze the conversation that Fury overhears, which she claims later, you were going to betray me. It's like, no, that's not what he was saying. That's just the way you chose to hear that.
Yeah, how you interpret it.
He was very clearly saying that he wants to do right by you, but he also has to follow a path of what he believes is right. Yeah. And yours is actively going against it. And he made that really clear.
He has to help Billy because like she even says like, you're just like his caretaker. And it's like, you're not wrong. He does need a lot of help. But he does feel like feels what he's doing is right. But just Fury has her own mindset and like, oh, but clearly we just have different views, so I have to kill you. I'm like, man, that's the world.
Yeah.
And that's what so much of what's the rich guy at the beginning, Corinth. His whole thing, it's like,
I heard Bruce Campbell.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. His whole thing is like, the world's all shitty and like rich people are just using the poor to like to keep them silent, and like it's never been easier to be rich and evil. And I'm like, man, this is like, you run ass. I'm like, of course I run ass. We need the people to be controlled. And like, yeah, this is 2020. Yeah, this is right. Yeah, that's right.
I feel like this entire book is 2020.
Yeah, and it came out a year and 2 years ago. So it's every year, baby. It's just about time.
The whole scene where I saw you had the picture of it, where they eviscerate all his guardsmen and then do it in the Hall of Mirrors.
That was the sexiest thing we've ever done together. And then they start banging on the floor in the gore. Yeah.
They're just like, I just let me leave. I don't want to know. Let's see whatever this is. And Molly is like,
you have on there.
And Molly is. Molly was like, I want to know what that thing does. Like, no, you don't.
No, you don't.
No. You don't want to know what that's for.
And then they just drag her away.
Yeah.
There's a great line from when Fury's talking to Corinth, the rich guy, and he's like, I would love to see you two killbots bang. And then she's like, in your dreams, human? And he says, maybe, but dreams are meant to be lived and everyone has a price. And I'm like, that's the most capitalist shit I've ever heard in my life. Oh my God. I love it.
I really like how Molly was like, this guy does a lot of these things for a lot of these progressive ideals and things like that, and it's like he lives miles above the planet.
He is a concept in this universe, another concept, because we've already seen one in Molly's former dad. He is a mega church person, essentially. A my way is right. I can't think of the exact avenue, but it's just an off step away from the mega church. Of that's how he gets by, and he stands up for all the right justice.
Or like a business,
everything.
like a billionaire business owner. Like, oh, I stand with the Black Lives Matter, but I'm going to donate to stuff like that.
Exactly.
Like behind the scenes nonsense to appear you have a good image.
Or even just like we've seen with the recent. All the coming out of accusations and things where people have been saying, I stand for this. And then people are like, no, you don't.
No, you don't.
No, you don't.
Here's where and how and how.
Yeah.
I thought the sequence that I also really enjoyed was the sequence in the gas station, the floating gas station.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
And they're all just trying on things.
7-Eleven.
Oh, yeah.
Do you see the sign? You touch it, you bought it. And they walk out and it's like, I'm actually really okay with this.
like Molly's holding on to that those sunglasses. She's like, you know what? I'm okay with this.
Yeah, I can dig it.
I love at first I thought the sunken temple was just going to be, it was like a filler.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite thing from this.
At first, when we get to this, because obviously Dust lost an arm, and they need to go and to do this job for it's once again, it's just like in the first issue where I talked about how Billy is essentially the Han Solo, where every time he walks into a room, everyone goes, oh crap, not this guy again. He walks into that.
Get the right F out of my establishment before I shoot you in the dick. Is what the guy says to Billy.
And then he's like, fine, go to the sunken temple for me. And they go, and then Dust is like, Billy, grow the F, own your shit, man.
Own your shit, yeah.
Right. Like,
so big, man.
I think, go ahead, Ben.
No, because like, they go to this thing because Billy's all like making fun of how people go to this temple, they write down their sins, they put them in a clam, and they chuck it off, right? It's like a way of having your sins like cleansed, or a way of confessing, in a sense.
It's going to a booth.
Essentially, yeah. And Dust does his own thing. And for a second, it looks like he actually reaches out to Billy. Is like, look, you may not believe in this stuff anymore, but there are people who do, and this helps us cope.
Yeah.
It may not be the right thing, but it helps. Because Dust is obviously going through some trauma because he just killed the love of his life. And he is not liking that at all. But of course, you think when Billy has a thing, the letter pops up, and it's a letter to the creator, and it's like, oh,
I love that.
I want to say what Dust says. He says, I made the love of my life feel so betrayed that she tore off my arm and she was trying to kill me. I did that to her, me. I didn't want to make her feel that way, and there's nothing I can do to stop it. That's just who I was. And that's so sad. That like, he just loved this person, and it's just they're different people, and just that's just how it is. And he feels like he has to repent for that. I'm like,
that whole section is pretty much my favorite part of this volume, with the part with Rex being the second. But what I like about it is the writing in this, especially in this volume, is so apparent, is so smart because Billy is entirely 100% a hypocrite. And what I mean by that is that he's constantly arguing against all these people pushing ideologies, but he is pushing an ideology that the universe is chaos.
Yeah.
And he's 100% saying, I don't believe in ideologies because it's chaos. And it's like, that's a fucking ideology. And he's just like shoving that into everyone's faces.
Yeah. Again, he was a purposeless before this, right? After ruining the universe, and he was just a drunk, and then he found purpose in wanting to save it. But that is an ideology. That is having a motive of wanting to fix something that might not be broken.
Right.
Obviously, it's broken, but like you can't just. He wants to nuke a bunch of people, and everyone's saying no. That's not the right thing to do. He's like, no, but clearly it's the right thing to do because I'm saying it's the right thing to do.
And in the one scene where he's at the 7-Eleven, intergalactic 7-Eleven with Molly, and he's arguing that morality doesn't matter because you take one bad example and then you have, the other guys did another bad example, and he uses the same circular logic later on Dust to say he uses the same circular logic later on Dust to say it's okay, I did a bad thing because look at the good thing I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I really admire the writing because Billy is a hypocrite. That's the whole thing. And the ideology is right there in the issue when he tells the story of Sisyphus.
Yeah.
And he says that rock would just keep coming down. He's like, he probably got strong enough he could push it either way. Billy chooses to live in his suffering. Mm-hmm. He chooses to live in the repetitive action of bullshit that he's done to himself. He knows he could choose to leave it, and he decides not to.
He thinks he's grown, but he's not grown.
Right.
Not yet. He just has a alternate way of dealing with his bullshit, and it's by killing everyone who is bad in the universe, which, hey, probably might do some good, but it's not what you should do.
Yeah, his idea of path to being better person is constantly punish self for past sins, rather than allowing any other kind of growth.
What's beautiful, one last thing about the temple thing, what's beautiful is when you show them both throwing their rocks and then you see how many rocks are at the bottom of the river or the ocean, and it's potentially millions. I'm like, I'm not religious, but it just goes to show like that does help people. And I'm like, man, that is a nice little thing to think about. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I want to highlight the art real quick. There's a sequence that this art was great in the first volume. The second volume, he has a sequence with a splash page where the ship goes in to steal a nuke.
Mm-hmm.
I think that splash page is incredible because you can so easily follow the action of the ship coming in, swooping around, dropping the people off. They pick up the nuke, hop back on the ship, and you see them boarding the ship with the nuke.
Yeah.
And as the ship flies off panel, I think that's awesome, and you can totally follow the action in that sequence. It's so seamless and so clear.
I had that piece pulled right up. Yeah. And my other favorite thing is that you can just see, in my mind, it's so funny because you just see like all of the other little figures around just like lit up with guns. Mm-hmm. And it's like they're just blasting constantly and they just like swish right the hell out. And that in itself is its own kind of visual humor that's so good. But you're right, the art throughout remains fantastic.
It remains like very... like I don't even know how to describe, like it's very like rough around the edges, but like everything is still clearly defined. It's not like traditional comic book art where it's very clean. Like there's so much line work going on. Like I guess you could say like a Sean Gordon Murphy. That's the closest did I say that last week or did I forget to say that last week? Did, but I would say Murphy's art is still cleaner than this, but that's like not a bad thing. This just feels looks like more indie
There's
art.
A grunge to
There's
it.
A grunge.
There is,
like a grittiness. Yeah.
I don't want to say the art's ugly because it's not. It has this certain type of messiness to it.
Yeah.
Because there are times where the art does get messy, but it's not like messy like I can't figure out what's going on. It's more of a messy of there's a whole bunch of stuff going on in this panel, but obviously there's this background stuff where you don't need to pay attention to, and then there's the focal point.
I think Sparks is right. The proper term is grunge. Like I think that this is definitely the perfect way to say it is just grunge.
I think it wants you to feel like because what they're talking about so often throughout the book is how oppressively filthy, more immoral the universe is, and they want you to kind of feel that in the art, which is why they're going for that kind of look. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't change the fact that like the character designs and the artistry of like the visuals of ships in space or the places they go to are so vibrant and imaginative, and the aliens they encounter are so vibrant and imaginative.
I mean, Dust might have passed in this volume, but like that, I always love a design where someone has a cool metal jaw.
I mean, Fury.
Fury, yeah. One of the villains in Knights of the Old Republic has a metal jaw.
Venture Brothers.
Yes, Venture Brothers. The Warhammer universe is all the orcs are covered with like jaw bones of other dead creatures. Like, I'm always a big fan of that design. It looks super cool. I'm sad that she's gone. I'm sad that they are gone. Excuse me. That was also a fun thing. That's like somebody called her like a cow lady. And it's like it's cow person actually, and I'm like, you got insulted, but I love it.
What I liked is when they have the intimacy scene between Dust and Fury in the bedroom, and you actually can see clearly in the art that she has both her lips behind that, because we hadn't seen both of her lips behind the jaw piece prior to that moment. And I'm like, that's really nice. And
She
we got
wears it
into
to
that
be-
kind of detail.
Like she doesn't need it.
No,
Like she wears it to be tough.
right.
Yeah.
I want to highlight another bit that I really enjoyed. It's the beginning of issue 9, chapter 9, or however you want to say it. But it's when you see it opens on these little fur balls.
Oh my God! Yes.
Okay, I have that pulled up too. So
Amazing.
yes,
And it's this one
when
little
that
fur ball.
started, I was going, where is this going? And
Nowhere.
And it's just this little fur ball on a stump yelling something. We can't. There's no word bubble, so we don't know what. And then these other fur balls doing their mining thing. And you're like, where is this going? What does this fur ball want? Is this the good fur ball? And then he gets eaten by the other little fur balls.
It's one standing among all, one standing above all the others, telling them to do this work, and it goes on for a very long time because you get day, and then they finally go, why? And they kill him and they eat him, and then they're happy temporarily,
And then they get killed by our heroes.
And then our heroes land on them.
Yeah.
What do you mean you don't like peanut butter?
Yeah.
Oh,
You know what this book reminds me of, and now I realized it? Like, it reminds me of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
It reminds me
where
of it
the
too.
characters are flawed and the characters challenge each other's morals and like their standings and stuff. And I'm like, I haven't thought of something that reminds me of that like since that movie. It's like a very James Gunn centric feel. I'm like, man, like I don't want him to just make another space movie, but he'd be perfect for this.
Right.
Like shit. If this would be, I want this to be like a TV show. More than anything, I want things to get adapted just so people get more eyes on it.
Yeah.
Right? Because thousands of people have read this book. Millions of people have seen Guardians. If I can get millions of people to get interested in this book, then it's worth having a show. I think this would be really, really fun.
Do you know what? This is a rare time where I would feel this way, but do you know what I almost would want ideally the adaptation to be? An indie game. An indie
Like a
video
Telltale game
of this. It doesn't even need to be that, but like like a simple indie game that tells this story that you play through.
Yeah.
This world, especially like the way you can imagine the designs into an indie game would work so well.
Yeah.
I think that would be the most true to the spirit. I feel like I think even as a TV show, we'd take a step away.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
But what I thought was so genius about that, the moment Brandon brought up, is that there's a callback to it in issue 10 when the robots get crushed by the ceiling, the death bots. And it's further cueing into that, like the way the universe works, almost in a circular notion. Interesting piece.
There's a small flashback back when Billy was the voice and he's at a bar. And you see the marquee says the Psychedelic Furs, and that's a great band from the 80s. And the first thing that the creator says to him is Love My Way, which is a Psychedelic Furs song. I love when creators do that because I know they love incorporating music in the comic books. Kieran Gillen's very famous for that. I was a big fan of that. I mean, his whole speech to Billy, she just wants validation. That's why she's sucking your knob, because you just told her that God loves you. And I'm like, this is so gross. It's so gross.
I like that they show us, because we see the creator in some of Billy's past, but it's always been in like a, you're meant to feel a little bit mixed, not 100% on one way or another about him. By now we are seeing enough of him that's like, no, not even now. Like in the past, he was always gross. He was always this.
Yeah.
And Billy has every reason to feel the way he does. This is definitely the volume where I started to hear James Spader's Ultron as the voice of the creator.
Sure.
It very strongly came through. I'm like, that's James Spader's Ultron
I can hear it.
in those moments.
I don't know what voice I had for the creator, but now the next time when we do volume 3, I'm going to be reading it with that fits perfectly.
Which honestly, like, anything else about that movie aside, I think James Spader's Ultron, for the cynicism he was able to put through a robot, was so effective, and is one of the reasons why I think that's such a go-to for me with this creator.
Evil Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to highlight the sequence after Billy nukes everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And Dust just wails on him like, you don't care, you think that nothing matters, you could have gotten us killed, like that. Like, he's so pissed off.
Yes,
and I really like
it's been building.
Yeah, and I really like that moment of just that comes to a head that Dust is just calling Billy out on his shit.
And it's a crescendo, because to Dust he feels like he's watching Billy lack morality further and further ever since he killed Yen.
Oh yeah.
And that's what he fears, and then that's why the moment when Billy jumps in front of Molly, he goes, oh, he is still... That's one of those telltale moments where, like, it's clear he is trying to do good things, he cares.
Yeah.
And that totally changes Dust's perspective on him, and changes everything, because after that he's helping Billy, he's saying good things to him, he cares, he's very upset that he got hurt. It's really nice, because it is the weight of the idea of I killed my love to protect you and what you're setting out to do. I believe in what you're going for, but you need to actually believe it too.
Yeah. That kind of like also has a bit of a callback in a small way when he talks about his chest plate to Fury, and he's like, do you ever wonder what this is? No, what is where you?
Sorry,
where you?
A delivery.
Doing it live.
Thank you.
Yeah.
He's like
I got it up if you want me to read it.
Yeah, read it, please.
So he says, have you ever wondered what this thing I wear on my chest is for? And it does this great, like, far away shot where they're just standing there in silence as she's holding him up, and she's like, well? And he's like, oh, it's nothing. I store my drugs in it. But right now it's a distraction.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think Billy's voice is really funny to just kind of... he's such a playful character. In moments like that, I think the writing highlights a lot of that cool humor.
Yeah, that's another example of just, like, the humor, when the humor hits high, the humor hits really high, and is so well paced with all these, like, serious and sincere moments.
When they're gonna go steal, I think it's a nuke. They're like, "What are you planning, Billy?" And he's like, "Oh, just some classic B&E, also some B, which stands for burglary." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's good. That's good." There's a great little scene. It's the same with. I already forgot her name, Molly and Rex, where she's like, we all need to be forgiven sometimes, otherwise no one gets better.
You're right.
And I think that's a pretty good thing in this universe.
I'm actually... Go ahead.
There's an old dude inside of a monster thing. One of the rich people.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was weird.
I do want to run down just a couple of things that I have saved here. Some are like just really poignant, well-written lines, I think, and the others are good moments of humor. But the part where Billy says, things are changing, Dust, and I tell you what, it's very strange having a direction for once. If nothing else, it makes you realize a simple fact. You can get through life with no direction whatsoever, and most of us do exactly that, and that's kind of terrifying.
Yeah, there's a lot of that like realness in the second volume, for sure.
Yeah, and I really like that idea. We kind of referenced earlier the tweaker who exposes himself
my God.
To all of them.
You want some drugs?
And they're like, what the how many are there?
Some nudity?
Yeah. And then Dust just grabs him. All right, tweaker, that's enough. Goodbye, and just tosses him over his shoulder and far, far away.
Yeah.
Very quickly followed with another good moment of humor, which is where Rex wants to go explore the planet. This leads to the sincere conversation between him and Molly just like gets right up in his face and is like, you wanted to spend some time with your sister who just saved your life. You want to answer questions about your family that she might have. That's what you wanted. And he's like, yeah, that's exactly what I wanted.
I love that part between Molly when like Rex is like, I want to go to the city of debauchery and sin. Let's do some stuff, illegal shit. And she's like, no, you're gonna stay here and talk with me. That's what you want to do. And he's like, yeah, okay.
Later on, they have that conversation, and there's one of my favorite lines in this whole collection of issues is when Molly tells Rex, everyone is afraid of not being good enough. If being good was easy, more people would do it more often. And I thought that was one of the best lines in this whole thing.
There's really quickly. There's a scene with like the sheriff and
yes, I was coming to that. It's the funniest part.
Dust has his new arm and he punches something, and then she's like, and then the sheriff's like, "That was my ship."
This is the most like my cabbages kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my ship.
And then
like, I'll go get the check.
No, it's even better because it's just Dust standing there like so upset that he's ruined this guy's ship. And then Billy's like, Dust, how dare you? Sir, let me go get my checkbook from my ship and we'll take care of this right away. And then he leans into Dust and Dust is still in shock and he's like, that's the sheriff. Let's get the fuck out of here.
and then
the sheriff's like, I don't believe those people are coming back.
Yeah. I really like when Cutter is going through his crap and he's got the alien call girl who's in his room and she's like, honey, it's an extra hundo for me to act like I care. And he says, done. And she's like, oh baby, then people be so cruel. Tell me all about it. I can't stand to see you troubled.
That's really funny.
But my favorite thing about Cutter's history that he goes through is he talks about some wars. And there's a war where there's like a kaiju creature fighting a giant mech creature, and this is some part of history. And he's like, "There's only like 3 wars that really mattered," and it's like, "Wait, what is this war?"
Yeah. That's the.
Did you see the Attack of the Clones reference in that very same flashback?
Attack of the Clones.
Oh, no.
There's an Attack of the Clones reference. So it's after the granddad gets out of his mech, and he kind of kneels down and looks at this helmet. And it's in the
to his hand.
It's in the Attack of the Clones like Boba Fett moment, and then just shunk, a head drops out of it.
Right, I forgot. I did see it, but I didn't really process it as an Attack of the Clones reference. But I get what you're saying now. Let's see, and the only other thing I want to talk about the ending because Legion gets real mad about some stuff. He gets mad about some boning.
Yeah.
So there's real quick before we get to the very end. Before that they find out that the creator is on Earth.
Right.
Mm-hmm. What's Earth? They've never heard of Earth.
What the shit's an Earth? I like that line.
Because originally you hear Earth, you're like, okay, that's the birthplace of all that's the birthplace of humanity. We expanded. It's kind of like in Halo, where Earth is like the mother planet, but we went to different planets, and now Earth is like, hey, don't touch Earth, but let's
it's like Battlestar Galactica because people still live on Earth in Halo.
Yeah, or
people
something like
don't know what Earth is anymore. Who knows what that place is?
This is so far in the future that they're like, frack is an Earth.
Exactly.
Hold on a second. Battlestar Galactica speculates that humanity wasn't born on Earth.
Oh, okay. I just know they're trying to get back to it. That's what I meant.
Yeah. Spoilers for the Battlestar Galactica.
Wow, it's a 15-year-old show. No one's watching. No one's.
People should care, but you're right. No one's watching.
Yeah.
But as Sparks alluded to, the very end.
No, since you brought that up, I did like when they plug all the crypto keys in, and then it's like the crypto lord comes up and it's like, hey man, so where's the creator? And he's like, the creator's in all of us. They're like, Jesus Christ, all of this for that?
It's like, hey, what is a creator? The creator is a creator. Oh, we have to be like this. Okay.
Where's Earth? And then it's like, oh, bro, what's Earth? It's like, oh, okay. There's been some shenanigans.
Yeah.
I thought Molly was way younger than 24.
Yeah. I didn't have an age on anyone.
I wasn't surprised to feel like she was in her young 20s. That didn't shock me. I didn't think of her as a teenager.
I don't know why, but I saw her as 16 in the first volume.
Yeah.
I guess I don't.
It's fine.
I mean,
obviously Billy did too. So
yeah.
No, I think that's actually kind of a sweet moment that kind of ends Billy's arc in this volume. That she's like, if nothing matters, then why does this?
Right. Because it's like there's nothing wrong with 2 consenting adults having like, some fun. There's literally nothing wrong with that. Maybe there's a problem when the Alpha and the Omega shouldn't be doing it because it might cause the apocalypse. That's when you got an issue, and
I got mad Game of Thrones vibes.
And I'm like, oh boy, some Targaryen nonsense.
Legion's reaction when he wakes up and smashes the dude to death, and then he squeezes the other dude
because like they did what?
Like a go-gurt.
The second he screams that, and that's where the book ends, I'm like, oh no.
Billy Payne.
It's funny because we spent the whole volume like anticipating Legion eventually catching up to them, and it's like, actually, Legion just wants you to go do this thing now, and it's like, great, Legion's on their side, and now we're back to Legion's.
Oh, now Legion's mad again. Yeah.
It's like, oh, you're in trouble now.
we have one more volume. I'm very curious where this is all going to end up, because this is definitely one of those books. Like, it's not a Marvel book, so like any one of these people could die. Who knows what could really happen? I'm very excited to see what happens with the creator. I want to see like the extent of his actual power, because I'm really curious if it's just like he can influence people, or it's like a grander scale than that.
I won't lie, when I was first going through it, part of me wondered if when Billy jumped in front of Molly that he would just die. I thought for a moment, because I'm like, they fleshed him out real well in these last few issues.
He'd become a martyr.
This could be like, now Molly can be the forefront, and her and Dust, and I could see it. I could see it, but that's not how it went.
Yeah. The third volume is not out, but single issues obviously are. So we'll be doing the next 5
issues.
The next 5 issues instead of the next volume. But the next volume is out in October. Recommend pick it up.
Hell yeah!
I almost, because I've had the issues on Comixology. I almost want to wait for like a big collection.
I wouldn't.
If they would get one.
I wouldn't bet on it.
I mean, I know.
If you look at a comic store, how many?
I'll bring this up also
because
I forgot to bring this up to you guys. But on Comixology, there's also a holiday special. Mm-hmm. There's a Wasted Space holiday special.
I did see that.
So we might want to cover that in our.
I might just buy these issues next time at the comic store.
Yeah. So we might want to cover that as part of our last volume discussion.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
All right.
Anything else you guys want to add about Wasted Space Volume 2?
No, I think everybody should be reading it. It's really awesome, and maybe next time we'll remember to do a no spoilers then spoilers section so you can read along with us.
We're still learning, guys.
If they're doing Volume 2, I can't assume. I guess I'm just a different person than those type of people, but I don't watch Volume 2s for things I have not read.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
We're still getting the kinks out of this episode. I wanted to ask. We all pick up comic books. We've all been to the comic book store recently. I wanted to ask, is there a single issue you want to highlight that you saw that you had on your pull list? Because I wanted to talk about Green Lantern, the 80th anniversary.
I got an X-Men book, and what did I even pick up? No.
I haven't even gone to get my pull yet. So
I wanted to bring up. Green Lantern, the 80th anniversary has a lot of great stories. It also includes, and I'll talk about this more on the next episode of the FakeNerd podcast a little bit. Also, it's got the last story by Denny O'Neil and Neil Adams.
Oh, nice!
And it is
advertised that Green Lantern book, because I didn't even know it came out.
We talked about it like 3 months ago.
There was no advertising because I didn't even know it was out.
I feel like we talked about it, and then coronavirus hit, and then everything just went dead silent.
It was one of the delays from coronavirus. From the coronavirus.
Okay. Yeah, I'm assuming, and because comic book stores were closing down, a lot of places were shut down. We were staying at home was in place, so a lot of stores closed. So I'm pretty sure it's because of that. Green Lantern left our minds, and we completely forgot.
But they just had the Joker one that I saw advertised like crazy.
They were supposed to be months apart. I don't necessarily blame them, but I wanted to highlight the fact that yes, it is Denny O'Neil's last story. It is a Green Lantern, Green Arrow capper to his run on both those books, on the Green Lantern, Green Arrow book. Cool. For that alone, I think it is well worth the price, especially if you read our last book club, which we did on the last FakeNerd podcast.
We'll talk more about that on the podcast. Sure.
For sure. I don't know if I'll spend $10 on one story, but yeah.
I mean, there's other good stories, but I think that the Denny O'Neil one is special.
Yeah.
I thought the question you were gonna ask, is there like a standout issue from this collection?
That's what I also thought you were gonna ask.
I would recommend, like, people really like, if you were gonna pick up single issues, what's the one that I'm like, oh man, this one, and it's definitely issue 8, which is the Sunken Temple.
Oh yeah,
definitely.
That's my favorite issue.
Yeah, pretend I was smart and said that instead.
You can have both. It's cool.
I think that, like, if I had one single issue from this run so far, I'd want it to be that issue. That issue was so good. That issue is so good just by itself.
And it gets to the core of like what Billy and what he's about, and like his whole challenge of trying to have a direction but not be a bad direction, just to have a direction.
Well, and I would argue even like just what the heart of the whole series is about.
Yeah.
Is
that the issue with,
because it's also Rex and Molly
on
the ship talking, and it's him and Dust talking, and I'm like, this is what the series is about.
This is the emotional issue. Yeah.
This is the thesis.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Love it.
I'm gonna message Michael Moreci. Let's see what he says.
I was gonna actually suggest maybe we try to do an interview with him after we get all 3 of these done, if we try, because I think that'd be cool. And
That would be rad.
Small enough
I really, really like it.
where also we're still in quarantine.
Or we can have him discuss Volume 3 with us.
Maybe.
It's much like Rachel Lifton did for their Downright Nerdy and Ben Maris
True.
book club.
Sure. We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it.
We'll figure it out.
Nothing's said, audience.
We literally haven't even talked to him yet. So
We just thought of it right now.
He did thank us for a shout out.
Yes.
Yes, he
about
did.
the book, and that's it.
Yeah. I'm really excited. Next week we're also gonna. I guess we might pick the next series we'll do.
Yes, we'll figure that out. This will be because we're doing the show kind of bi-weekly, so it's going to be about 2 weeks, and we'll get that next episode, and then we'll let you know what's going on next.
Yeah. Maybe we'll spin the wheel on air, give people some excitement in their lives.
Yep, that's what the entire world's missing. A comic book wheel by us.
I think
it's missing excitement right now. It's so I can't even.
It's so.
All right.
You know what it is, Sparks? It's so hello, darkness, my old friend. That's what it is.
I can't even.
All right. So I guess until then, you can find us all at FakeNerd Podcast on all the social media. Definitely want to pick up Wasted Space. I'll Sparks put a link to where they could buy Wasted Space.
Okay.
In the description, so you guys can check it out as well. Those volumes are pretty cheap, and they're good and worth it. I'm at BT McClure on Instagram and Twitter. Ben, where can they find you?
You can find me on the internet at BenMagnet27 on both Instagram and Twitter.
Oh wait, I'm not on Twitter right now. Only on Instagram. We'll see how long that lasts.
I don't blame you.
We'll see how long that lasts. Sparks?
You needed a break.
Yeah.
You can find me retweeting about some just real crappy crap going on and trying to help guide you to thinking better at Sparks Witty on Instagram and Twitter. SPARKZ Witty, the world's on fire.
Much like Wasted Space.
Much like Wasted Space.
Ryan,
I am a voice in a void retweeting into a waste of space. That is Twitter.
Ryan, where can they find you?
You could find me at BJ Tony Snark everywhere. We got a new mic, so maybe be streaming soon. I see a video game about a shark RPG right in front of me. I've been really wanting to play.
All right. Make sure to like and subscribe this video. Like this video. Subscribe to our channel. Greatly appreciate it. Let's get some more subscriptions and change our name.
We're close, right?
What? No, you're right. We're pretty close.
We're like over 80 something, I think.
Yeah. You can also check out our other shows on this channel. We have obviously some of the back catalog of the FakeNerd podcast, and we've been doing the last couple of episodes, a lot of episodes at this point, live, and we'll be doing another episode live this weekend. We've been going through the DC animated movie universe. Check those out if you guys want. It's been a lot of fun. You can check out FakeNerd's Watchmen. I think is still free. So watch that. Maybe if it's not, watch it anyway. And check out our after show online. There's shameless plug. And then you can check out our Basement Arcade series where we are currently going through Mortal Kombat 9. So lots of cool content, as well as more of the episodes of this video coming. And until next week, guys.
Until 2 weeks from now.
And thanks until 2 weeks from now. Stay fake nerds.